Alright people, the time has come. Today is the day that we are going to be ranking every single Call of Duty Zombies map that's ever been created, and when I say every single one, I bloody well mean it. We've got a lot of maps to get to in this video, I tell you that much. And we are going to be including the non-treyarch maps in this video here. We've obviously got World War II in here, we've got Exo Zombies as well, you can see, we've got Cold War, we got all the way up to the end of BO6 with Reckoning, which is the final map as of recording this. We are also including the remakes as well. You can see that we've got the Chronicles maps in here, and we've got the BO1 remakes here, and yeah, oh boy. And we've even got Dead Ops Arcade and the fucking Nightmare mode in here somewhere, I think. The last time that I did make a video like this was, I believe, back in 2020, either before or after Cold War came out. I'm not entirely sure exactly when it came out, but it was around then, and I think, yeah, oh my goodness, yeah, this is the tier list that we were working with at the time, only up to BO4, and we didn't include the non-treyarchs. That's wild. But now we're going to be rectifying that, and we're going to be ranking fucking everything. So I am going to be removing this never played tier, because I have played every single map that's in this tier list, but I will be keeping the Vanguard tier because I think it's funny. But I will be adding a tier below F, and I'm just going to call it bin or something. Right, let's get into this shit and rank every single Call of Duty Zombies map. So let's start with Nectar and Totem World at War. So this one is obviously going to go like dead middle. It was the first map ever, and it invented zombies essentially, but it is incredibly bare bones. The replay factor is not really there except for the nostalgia that you have towards the map, which is the case for me. But I do feel there is a certain like atmosphere and spooky vibe that this map has that not a lot of maps since have really captured in the same way. And the bare bones aspect does create a challenge, so I can appreciate it. But at the end of the day, if this didn't exist, none of these maps below it would have existed either. So you've got to be fair to the first ever of something, right? So with that said, let's now move on to Verrucht World at War, which I'm going to be putting in E tier. I think that objectively it's a stronger map to play than Nacht. But then again, I feel like the map spacing on Nacht is way better designed than Verrucht. Though I do enjoy the map spacing on Verrucht, I feel like it's not very player friendly, it's very challenging, which is part of the appeal for me. And honestly, Verrucht is one of the most fucking freakiest maps ever. The horror aspect in this map is top notch. It did invent perks and traps, so I've got to give it credit for that. I think E tier is fair. I feel like the replay value on World at War Verrucht is not really there in the same way as Nacht, because it wasn't the first, if that makes any sense. Now let's move on to Shino Number, which I'm going to put in the same tier as Verrucht, but above. Pretty good map. I think when we get into the remakes, I feel like the original World at War of these maps is the strongest version of these maps on offer, especially with Shino, with its glitchy high round thing, and it invented the original characters. It also invented hellhounds. It has the random perk spawns, which some people aren't fond of, but I think it's quite an endearing feature. Yeah, I think it's an extremely strong map, and I'm just incredibly appreciative of what all of these World at War maps do. But speaking of, Doris, going straight in A tier. You shouldn't be surprised. I think at the end of the day, Doris is one of the hallmark maps that really propelled this mode from being like a niche thing to being something that could go far. With inventing Pack-a-Punch, man, that really gave this mode its staying power, I feel. Doris is extremely strong. It has honestly aged like a fine wine. Of all of the World at War maps that have been remade, still the original version, I still find myself replaying this original version of Doris because it is just that good. But now we move in to Kino de Toten. Now I will be honest, I have to give it credit. The fact that it was the launch map of BO1 did definitely propel the mode into stardom that it otherwise wouldn't have had. We needed a easy, bare bones map to introduce the masses to COD zombies, and BO1 did that perfectly with Kino being the first one. But unfortunately, Kino, to me, just feels like a clone of Derice. All of the features that Kino has are things that were introduced on Derice, and as for like an innovative factor, Kino doesn't really have anything new to offer to the mode besides like the Thunder Gun and Nova Crawlers. And I don't really like the Nova Crawlers, so I'll be honest, I'm not dreadfully fond of Kino. I never really find myself playing it. Yeah, so it's going in F tier. Sorry. And now we move on to 5. Now 5 is a very fun map. In the same way as Verrucht, though. I feel like the spacing on the map is very tight, very limited, very suffocating, but the challenge is there, and I enjoy that challenge. And the celebrity cast is good, so I am just going to have to put it in the same tier as Verrucht, but at the top for the fact that it has Pack-a-Punch. Cool, now, Ascension. This was at one point like my favourite map of all time, way back in the day before BO2. I still like it. I think that it is just a little bit too easy. I think either C or B tier. I will... I don't know where to... Maybe B tier. I think B tier is... Maybe even A. No, I'm going B. Ascension is good. It's way too easy. I also think that the things that it does to try and negate the ease of the map and make it a bit more challenging are just poorly placed. Like, the monkeys that steal your perks, they aren't challenging, they're just annoying. Like, it doesn't actually, like, help the flow of the map. And also, the spacing on this map is too wide open, which leads to how easy it is that I was mentioning. But the Pack-a-Punch process is pretty fun, and it has the first like real Easter egg, so I feel like that does earn it B tier easily, because it is a really strong map and it's iconic. And I think it's extremely fun. If you just want to jump on a map and not have like a challenging experience and just want to chill out, then this is a good one, honestly, from BO1. Cool. Now on to Call of the Dead, which is going straight in A tier. Above Derice? No, not above Derice, but it's close. Call of the Dead is, honestly, probably my favourite BO1 map, I'll be honest. It obviously it has 2 wonder weapons, one of them not being very good, mind, but the setting is really cool. The layout is very unique. It's a tale of 2 halves. It's the lighthouse and then the boat, and I think that map design is very interesting. I also think that George is a fun feature, and if he was just there to follow you about and you didn't get any rewards from him, sure, you'd have me believe that, yeah, that's a bad boss design. But the fact that he gives you a free perk and the wonder weapon, or a different wonder weapon, every time he dies, it does kind of make his presence worthwhile on the map, if you know what you're doing. Yeah, and obviously the celebrity cast. You're playing as Robert Englund, Sarah Michelle Gellar, etc. Great iconic cast, great setting. Yeah, there's not yeah, it's great. I really think it's an excellent map, and I think that back in the day it was really overhated, and I didn't really love it very much back in the day, but like since my skill has gone up with zombies and we've gotten harder maps, I've really gone back and extremely loved my time on Call of the Dead. So up it goes into A tier. Okay, now we have Shangri-La, which I am going to put in B tier, honestly, above Ascension. Now, a younger me definitely would not have done that. Shangri-La was at one point my least favourite zombie map. I think Shangri-La is a very unique experience, and it's challenging, like 5 and Verrucht, but in a good way. It's designed extremely well. The layout of the map isn't poorly designed to make it more difficult. It has natural difficulty that it springs on the players. The Pack-a-Punch process is pretty fun, a bit annoying on co-op if you don't have mics, obviously, but besides that, that's my only real gripe of Shangri-La. I think the setting is beautiful. The boss zombies are well placed, I feel, and the wonder weapon is fucking amazing. Yeah, Shangri-La is a damn decent map. I'd even be willing to put it in A. Do I? Or is there maps that I think deserve it more down here? I'll leave it in B. I'll leave this in B, but it's close. Shangri-La definitely deserves its time in the sun. It is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant map, and severely overhated over the years, I feel. I definitely wouldn't have said that like 10 years ago. Good map. Okay, now we have Moon. It's I don't know about this one, honestly. I think that the Easter egg, the story is there. The features on this Easter egg are mostly good. I will say though, this Easter egg is way too heavily reliant on RNG in order to get you through. Like, you need to get 2 different grenade types from the box for it. You've got to wait for excavator pie to work out. Yeah, the Easter egg, good story. The design needs some work. I feel like it's not incredibly kind to the player that has shit luck, which is me. I'm the player that has shit luck. But also the map design is a bit for me. I think the biodome is a beautifully looking part of the map, and the setting is cool, sure, but the low gravity just doesn't really do it for me. I'll be completely honest. I know that there are some people that really love Moon, but I am not one of them. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to put it. No. I'll put it in E. I'm not putting it in F with Kino. I think that Moon is a fine map. It's playable, but it's just not for me. You can't win them all. At the end of the day, this is my own take on these maps, so you can have your own different opinions. This is mine. Okay. For now, I think we're going to skip over the remakes and just move on to BO2. And then at the end, we'll hop back to the remakes and talk about them. Or maybe sometime throughout the video, we might spice it up and throw some of these in here. So, let's talk about Transit first before we talk about its survival maps. Transit, honestly, is a very interesting one, like Moon. It's awful on solo. I'll just get that out of the way. It is awful to play. I think that on co-op, however, it's extremely fun. The design of the map is so damn, like, it's just way too ambitious for its own good, I think. For the engine that they were working with like the Xbox 360 and like PS3, the map bit off way more than it can chew. The Pack-a-Punch process is shit. The Denizens are fucking annoying. The Avogadro is a bad boss, honestly. Just a very poor excuse. And yeah, and the bus is poorly designed as well, for reasons I won't get into here. I'll be honest, Transit has not... The years have not been kind on this one for me. I think I'm going to have to put it in bin. I don't think that Transit is a very good map. I think that it's a fun map. Sure, with friends, because you can fuck them over, leave them behind on the bus, right? That's something everybody says is really fun. But as a well-designed map, run away from this one if you're looking for a good map. I'll be honest with you. If you're just looking for a good time, unless, like I say, you're playing with friends, and then it can be fun. But I have no friends. There you go. The joke's been made, so you guys don't have to make it. There you go. That was Transit. Let's go on to Bus Depot, Farm and Town. So I'll talk about Town first. I think Town... Yeah, it's not very innovative. But I really do like it. I think that I have a lot of nostalgia of Town. I think that I'll put it like here, just for the sheer fact that it was like the most played map on BO2. So yeah, I think Town is just a very nice compact survival map with everything you need, with like wall weapons, Pack-a-Punch perks. It really is just a fun in and out experience. I think it's decent. I will be honest, I'll put it in E. I'll put it in E above Moon, but behind Varrock. I think I feel good about that. And then we have Bus Depot and Farm. So Bus Depot is going in bin. In fact, I think it belongs in Vanguard. But, yeah, I never find myself ever replaying Bus Depot. I never find the need to play a map that just has a mystery box and 2 wall weapons. Yeah, it doesn't belong anywhere else. And then as for Farm, doesn't innovate. I never find myself playing it, but it at least has some... I'll put it behind Transit, but I'll put it in bin. That's where I'm putting Green Run. But there you have it. Okay, Nuketown. So this one has its own identity, unlike Town. So I'm gonna have to put it at least above Town. But it does just kind of deliver on the same experience as Town, right? The only difference being it is more difficult because the perks don't arrive all at once at the beginning. And you have that fun little Easter egg of the eyes turning blue at round 25. So there is that, a fun little callback to Moon with Nuketown. So I appreciate that for what it is. I will shoot it to the top of E. Okay, Die Rise. I don't know with this one anymore. I used to hate it more than Transit. I think the verticality of it is a fun feature. It kind of is very player aggro. And yeah, the Wonder Weapon's good, but it shoots you off the edge with it. I'll be honest, no. I'll put it in bin above Transit. I can't really get behind Die Rise. I'll be honest, it still doesn't really do much for me. Like, at least with Transit, you can enjoy it with friends, and you can do the same with Die Rise too, but I don't think there's much to really set these two maps apart from each other. Yeah, sorry. Okay, now we've reached our first S tier. Mob of the Dead. In fact, you know what I will do? I'll put this trifecta in S. Mob of the Dead, Buried, and Origins. I think these three maps are the saving grace of the mode, but Mob of the Dead we'll talk about first. Mob of the Dead is excellent map. It's very linear in story and in play, but that's kind of what we needed at the time, because the Die Rise and Transit model was not working. The whole sandbox thing wasn't working very well. So having a linear zombie experience was the right way to go. It's not my favourite BO2 map though, so it's going bottom of S. I do really, really love Mob of the Dead, by the way. I think it's incredibly iconic with its characters, its boss with Brutus. Even just they reskinned the mystery box for this map. Like, not many maps had that back in the day, like a reskin of the mystery box. It's really good. It's a really good story and everything. Brilliant. Now we have Buried. Buried I like more than Mob of the Dead, just by a little needle hair. Yeah, I think that it's incredibly fun. I think that it takes what they were trying to do with Transit and Die Rise, but just amps that up to 11. It gives you so much shit to do with just Leroy, let alone with like all the traps and all the little things you can do with that. I just think the setting of Buried is really fun as well. You have so many different like areas you can explore, like the mines and the town, and then the maze as well. The Pack-a-Punch quest is fun, if maybe a bit too easy. But I'll be honest, it is an extremely fun experience and was at one point my favourite map of all time. So I believe it does easily deserve an S tier spot, and I think that I see a lot of tier lists placing it like down here, like in like C, B and A, but I think it easily deserves S tier. Yeah, sure, it's a bit too easy. But with that aside, I think it is a very fun map, an extremely enjoyable experience. And then we have Origins. It's staying at the top of S tier where it sits right now. It's one of my favourite maps of all time, if not my favourite map ever, and we'll get to what else could be in that spot very, very soon. Yeah, I think that Origins is an extremely coherent experience. The story is good, even though the cutscene did break the internet at the time when it came out, like the end cutscene. But having the characters back in their premise versions, it was really, really hype as well. And like I say, just the French trenches in World War I is just such an iconic setting for a zombies map, and the robots and the Easter egg quest itself is so well designed. I think it is a perfect map, hands down. Okay, let's move on to Exos. So we have Outbreak, which is the first Exo Zombies map, and is honestly... Now, I'm going to get some hate for this, but I think it's honestly quite good. For, like, designing an entirely new mode for zombies that is completely separate from the Treyarch stuff is really impressive. The fact that it works at all is really impressive to me. I don't know why. Yeah, I may have a soft spot for Exos, but bite me, alright? I think this is a well-designed map, especially for trying to fit in the exosuits into the zombies mode. That whole concept could have crashed and burned under the weight of its ambition, right? I think that it really works, though. I think it's a fun map, and of all of the Exo maps, it's one of the stronger ones. But now let's talk about one of the weaker ones. Infection is going in Vanguard, because it's just so poo. And I'll keep it short, but what I will say is Infection as a map is just fundamentally, like, poorly thought out. So... oh god, it's just such a shit fucking map. Even beyond the fact that the map locks down after a certain round, like, you have no choice but to do these escort missions. Poo. I even remember at the time the fan base was riling against this thing, being like, wow, They actually made something worse than transit. That's so shocking. So, infection does not just... It just doesn't deserve to be ranked among the rest of these. Infection is just awful. And you know when the map is bad when it's been dubbed Burger Town. Right, time for Carrier. This will shock some people. But C tier. I think that Carrier is a fine map. And I hear people hate on this one. I think the Carrier map is fine. I think that it's the most iconic one of the Exo Zombie maps. It's got the Plinko machine. It's got the main like crate room of the ship. It's got the dual spawn rooms as well, like Varuk did, where half of the team spawns on one side and half on the other, and they have to meet at the power center, right? Carrier is a decent map. I don't think there's much that I can really fault it for. Sure, it has the growing pains of it being a zombies map in an advanced movement system. But with that being said, Carrier doesn't really do anything wrong on that front. I think it does the best it can with what it has. So yeah, I think it does deserve C tier. I don't think it's as strong as like Shank or Ascension by any stretch, but I do think that it's okay. And I think that it deserves a bit more grace than it gets. And then as for Descent, I will put it above Outbreak, a bit behind Nact. I think that people like this one the most of the Exo Zombie maps purely because it has the first boss fight, right? And when you take that aspect out, I do feel like Carrier is by every stretch stronger than Descent. But giving some respect to Descent, Descent has really good atmosphere to it. Definitely the best atmosphere of the Exo maps, I'll say. And the story is okay, considering. Is it the best thing in the world? Absolutely not. But the Wonder Weapon's fine. But again, I prefer the Wonder Weapon on Carrier to Descent for me. This is my biggest like hot take of the non-Treyarchs, is that I prefer Carrier to Descent. And I know that there are a lot of Descent lovers out there in the Exo Zombies, you know, fan base. And I prefer Carrier, which will ruffle some feathers, but bite me. Don't care. This is my opinion. This is my tier list. Okay. Now it's time to move into the real good shit. Now it is time to talk about Shadows of Evil, which we're just going to do this right away. Shadows of Evil is, if not my favourite map, then my second favourite. I'll be completely honest, there is no map on this tier list coming up that is going to reach the number 1 or number 2 spot. I think Shadows and Origins are the 2 best zombie maps ever made, and depending on the day, will depend on which one I love the most. But both of them are perfect. Literally, not a single thing I can fault either of these maps for. But as for Shadows, I'll put it top for now, because I'm more in a Shadows of Evil mood today than Origins. The celebrity cast is brilliant. The setting is gorgeous. There is no greater atmosphere than on Shadows of Evil. I think Morgue City is a beautiful map. The color palette of this map is gorgeous. The boss spam on this is not too much. I think that the Margwa is an incredibly well designed boss. The Pack-a-Punch process is super duper fun, and it also introduces a perk. It introduces Widow's Wine, one of the best perks ever made. I don't talk enough about what maps introduce what, but it deserves mentioning. Widow's Wine is one of the best perks. So yeah, and also just the entire theming of like the squids and like the Apothicon, stuff like that. It's such a fantastic map. It is just, I can't sing its praises enough. The Wonder Weapon is iconic, just like Origins. The boss is well designed, just like Origins. The layout is perfect. It is it's a perfect map. It is so good. I can't sing its praises enough, man. It is just so damn strong. Okay. Now let's talk. Should we do the remakes now? Shall we do the World at War remakes while we're here? Let's talk about the Giant first. So, the Giant is basically Doris but with snow and double Pack-a-Punch. I'll be honest, the Giant doesn't really expand Doris all that much. Yeah, it adds the extra perk under the snow mound, whether that being Stamina Up or Deadshot. But besides those things, it is basically just the same experience, but with a new coat of paint. That being said, though, it is one of the most played zombie maps of BO3 for a reason. I think that it is incredibly fun and is necessary to have a casual remake map in a game like BO3 filled with so many high concept Easter egg quest maps like Horizon Drac, Shadows of Evil. You get the gist. So I'm going to split the difference, and I'm going to say that the Giant belongs in D tier. I think that it's an okay map. I think that it does the job, and it is a necessary map that BO3 needed on launch for that game to work. Without it, BO3 may not have succeeded in the way that it did, I'll be honest. Cool. Shall we go back? Let's go back and rank the BO1 remakes now. So Naktor and Toten BO1. I'll be completely honest with you. I never find myself replaying the BO1 remakes besides Derice BO1. And so for that reason, I'm going to put the BO1 Derice with the Giant, because that's, to be honest, that's just a fair spot for it to go with the Giant. Because it's the same, it offers the same stuff, really, as a remake would. But as for Shino, Verrucht, and Nacht, I believe that these maps are... honestly, they don't really improve on the experience, and kind of... they remove the glitchiness of the World at War maps, but I believe the glitchiness is part of the charm of these World at War maps like Nacht, Shino, and Verrucht. So taking that away just offers less. So for those reasons, I never really find myself playing these remakes. And as such, in they go. Into F tier. I've got to be more cutthroat. I've got to be less nostalgic, because I do love the older games like World at War, BO1, BO2, BO3, even BO4. I love those games. But I've got to be more objective with these things. I've got to be more cutthroat, more to the point. But there you go. That is how I would rank the remakes. And if I were to pick an order, that's what I would do. Because Verrucht is a difficult map anyway, so the BO1 remake just makes it more difficult. So the difficulty factor makes it slightly more fun than these two. But it still just belongs in F tier, because the BO1 engine does not lend well to the World at War maps, I don't think. Not anywhere near as much as they should. And also, you've got the World at War maps, and the BO1 remakes, they're not even remakes. They just ported the maps into the BO1 engine and called it a day, right? They didn't even like bother changing some of the wall weapons that are on offer there. So, for me, the BO1 remakes don't offer anything. The only one that slightly does is Derice BO1, but even then, I'd be tempted to put it down to E tier. And I won't, though. I'll leave it with the Giant, because that feels fair to me. Okay, Horizon Drac. Another S tier map, okay? I'll be completely honest. Another S tier map. Though it is not my favourite BO3 map, not even my second favourite BO3 map, but that just shows you how strong BO3 is as a game. Horizon Drac is still a superb map. It basically takes the blueprint of Origins and makes it more casual friendly. It makes the bows easier to get than the staves. But I also think the Easter egg is really fun. I think the boss fight, yeah, it's a bit by the numbers and not very unique. It's just a very simple like design for a boss fight. But we have a boss fight all the same, which most of these maps previous to this one never had anyway, so you got to give it credit. The reason it's low on S tier, Horizon Drac, is because it doesn't have a unique mid-round boss with the hell. Like, it just has the Hellhounds. It doesn't have, like, a unique boss style like Shadows does with the Parasites, right? So, and the Meatballs. So that's why Horizon Drac sits low on S tier, but still on S tier because it's still a perfect map, and there's nothing that I could really say, pick out and be like, that is a shit feature on the map. I think it's all very well designed. An extremely fun experience, and the Easter egg is extremely well designed too, and the bows are really good. If I were to answer, by the way, I would prefer the staffs to the bows, but the bows are still really, really good. So you gotta pick your battles, haven't you, really? But I do think Horizon Drac is excellent, hence why it's in S tier, but it's a low S tier because there are maps that offer more than DE, but excellent all the same. Right, Zetsubo. Easy A tier. I will even put it above Derice. No. above Call of the... No, behind Call of... No, I'm happy with where it is, actually. Yeah, Zetsubo was at one point quite a hated map. It was like down here for a lot of people. I don't know why. It's not in S tier though, and that's because of the plant system. Now the plant system is great in concept. In execution, it doesn't really land. I think with the plant system, what Treyarch were trying to go for were a retaking on the whole like dig site, like dig mounds of like Origins, where you dig up with the shovel and you get power ups. Sometimes you get like parts for the Easter egg. Sometimes you'd get like the helmet. And I think the plant system was basically another attempt at that, but more ambitious, and you could do more with it. But the issue with the plant system is to wait for your plants to grow, they need to go through the stages as the rounds progress, which is not a good way to go about it. It should always be time-based when it comes to that stuff, which makes the plant system incredibly tedious and not very interesting. Also, kind of confusing, because I still don't fully know what different water types gives you certain rewards with the plants. So it's just still extremely unclear to some players. I'm not saying all, but some players, the whole plant system isn't really fleshed out in a way that's incredibly easy for anyone to use, right? You got to do your homework. You got to go on a Mr. Waffle's guide on how to do the plants sometimes if you're not incredibly well versed on this map. But that being said, it is still an A tier because the spiders are a really cool idea. It has 2 really good boss fights. Obviously, I like the spider boss fight more, but all the same, it's good. The story's great. The setting is beautiful. The soundtrack on this one, people don't talk about enough, is really good too. It's just a really fun Easter egg as well. I think that the Masamune is an underrated wonder weapon as well. The thing that, like I say, makes it not in S tier and make it A is because also the Thrashers are a poorly designed boss. They don't give you a reward for killing them, and they spawn so damn much, man. So there it goes, in A tier, not in S tier. Still a good map. I did rat on it a bit there, but I just had to get my grievances out with it, but I still think it's an extremely fun map to play. Right, Gorod Krovi, another S tier. BO3 just keeps on giving, doesn't it? I'm going to put it above Buried. I think Gorod Krovi is another case of just incredibly good map design mixed with good returning features and good new features. And the dragon flying around overhead over the entire map just adds icing to the cake. We're in a war-torn Stalingrad. Return to the PPSH. Honestly, the Easter egg I quite like. I know that people have an issue with how difficult it is, but I'll be honest, I quite like the Easter egg. I'll be honest. I think it's quite a well designed one. The story's good once again, but the story in most of BO3 is good, so no real complaints when it comes to any of that stuff. I think the soundtrack on this is good again. The design is good. There's nothing really I can fault it for. I think the fact that it has like a 4-corner of the map structure, how it's spawn, then like power, and then to the other side you have tank and the library, right? The tank depot and the library. It's just extremely well designed map layout, and it has verticality when it comes to the building outside of spawn. It's just really well done, and with all the new features and returning features with the Dragon Gauntlet and the Dragon Strike, and also the wings that you can get as well. Yeah. It's just an extremely well crafted map, and I love it. I love it so much, and it's one of my favorites ever. Yeah, it's so good. Right, Revelations. So, okay. So this one is gonna have to go in C tier. I don't think it's an awful map. I think it's good. I don't like that it's just a big smorgasbord of like a who's who, right? Like it's just a ton. It's just most of the maps that we've discussed so far on this tier list smushed together into a big melded like map of greatest moments, right? Which, crazily enough, at the time, this is what we were asking for. We were asking for a map like this, but now, just stop with the remakes, is what I would say now. But giving respect to Revelations, yes, it is way too easy. The Easter egg is really difficult. It's okay, but it's really difficult. The story's good. In some spots, actually. In some spots, the story's good. In others, it's not. The returning features are plenty. We get so much returning features on this map. In some ways, that's a good thing. In other ways, that's a bad thing because it's just too easy at times. Like you can get the Ragnaroks and the Thundergun and the Apothicon Servant in one loadout with the Mark II or whatever else you fucking want, right? It's just such an you become so OP. But the reason it's in C tier is because this map could have easily have ended up being shitter than it was. And I'm not saying that the map is shit, but it could have easily have crashed and burned under the ambition that it is. Merging all of the maps together as one big map is no easy task. To make the map flow well, yeah, it does have to use the jump pads in order to make the map's layout flow a bit better. But with that aside, the map still ends up playing well. Like the actual like game progression and flow of the map and the gameplay loop as well, it works on Revelation. So I've got to give it credit for that. Again, I just think it is just too easy, is my main criticism with it. And in some cases, being too easy, I can look past it with like Buried or Ascension, but with Revelations, it is the main dragging point, with it also being the fact that it doesn't really have much new in the way of like return, like new features, right? So yeah, now let's go through the BO3 remakes, the Chronicles maps. Okay, so I think that the BO3 remakes of the World at War maps are superior to the BO1 remakes, but not by a wide margin. I'll be completely honest. What I will do, actually, is I'll put just the Kino de Toten BO3 remake just slightly ahead of the BO1 remake, because it's the exact same experience, except it has that mini Easter egg, and it has Gobblegums and Wonder Fizz. That's all it has. It's just the same map otherwise, so I am just going to have to put both Kinos here. Sorry, again, if you're a Kino de Toten fan, but you're a boring person if that's your favourite map. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's get back to World at War. So the World at War remakes in the Chronicles are... honestly, yeah, better than the BO1 remakes of these maps. Like the Varuk, Shino, and Nacht of BO1 are not as strong as the BO3 ones, because at least the BO3 ones offer more to do. Like they have, like I say, they have Wonder Fizz and they have Gobblegums, which gives them a lot more replay value. Would I put them up here in E tier though? I don't know if I would. I never find myself playing these Chronicles remakes, I'll be honest. You know what, I'm just going to put them all in F, because I don't ever find myself playing them. Do I think they're bad? No, I really don't think they're awful. I think that just because it's in F tier doesn't mean that it's bad. There's a reason we have a bin tier, and then below that a Vanguard tier. If you're in F tier, you're not a poorly designed map necessarily. You're just a map that is extremely forgettable for me. That's kind of my criteria for F tier. But I think I would play Shino from BO3 first, then Varuk, then Nacht. But again, like, I don't hate these BO3 remakes. I think they are fine, and Chronicles doing this does give BO3 so much more replay value as a game, and I feel like we are better off that we have the Chronicles maps. I just do feel like the original experiences of these maps have more of a novelty to them than these remakes, though I do think these remakes do offer more in terms of replay value with Gobblegums, obviously. I just however feel that I don't really find myself wanting to ever play these Chronicles maps very much. But with that said, let's talk about... No! You know what? There is one in BO3, in the BO3 Chronicles remakes that I will talk about that is going to turn some heads. I prefer the BO3 Chronicles Moon to the BO1 Moon. I think that it is a stronger experience. I'd even be willing to put it in D. I think that the BO3 Moon fits so much better than the BO1 Moon. I think, first of all, it looks better. Second of all, I think the 3-hit system makes Moon less of a unfair hostile map, and it makes the low gravity less of an annoyance and more of actually something that's fun. But that being said, BO3 Moon does not have PhD Flopper, and when you're in the Biodome you need PhD Flopper, so it's still going in E tier. But stronger than BO1 for me, and that's gonna ruffle some feathers for Moon fans, I think. But that's just my opinion, and you can just suck it up, Buttercup. But as for Ascension and Shang, I'm not a big fan of the Ascension remake. I'm gonna have to put it in F below all these other ones, partially because my main issue with Ascension is that it's too easy in BO1. So just think about it. The BO3 remake of Ascension just makes it even easier, right? So it just makes it just a little bit too boring, is my thing with it. But that's just me. But Shangri-La, on the other hand, I think is a strong remake, but I don't think that I like it more than its original either. So I'm just going to have to sit it with the Giant. I think that it's just about as good of a remake as the Giant is. But again, it doesn't have PhD. I'll put it below the BO1 Darius. And now we have Origins BO3. Now, I like Origins BO3. I do not think that it's anywhere near as good as the BO2 Origins, obviously. The mud is stickier, and also I think having Gobblegums in Origins just kind of ruins the immersion of it a little bit too much. I think that Origins was fine on its own, more than fine. It was perfect on its own. It didn't need these new features in it to really help it. And also when it comes to the Easter egg, it removes the skip with the fire staff. So it kind of ruins the Easter egg aspect of Origins for me with the BO3 remake of it. So I'm just gonna have to sit it like with the Moon BO3. We've tackled Black Ops 3. Now the viewer retention is gonna go down because we've been at this for like half an hour. All right, let's talk about not Advanced Warfare. Let's talk about Infinite Warfare Zombies. So let's talk about this mode. Okay, so I've been harsh on this mode in the past. I'm okay. Take a quick sip of my drink because my voice is going and we're only just halfway through. Okay, so Zombies in Spaceland. So this one is incredibly strong. Is it an S tier though? For me, it's not. Wait. No, it is. It is. It is. It's bottom of S tier, but it's less tier. And I think I'm actually happy with that. I think I'm going to leave it there. But I think the map setting is beautiful. I think that the clowns are incredibly fucking frightening. Afterlife Arcade, really good. It's just not much. It's just really good. I think it does deserve S. As for Raven the Redwoods, I will put it in B tier behind Ascension. It's a difficult map, but it's fun. I think that the setting is really good. The boss fight is fucking excellent. I love the boss fight in Raven the Redwoods. I think it is extremely strong. Wonder Weapon's okay, but it just goes down to the atmosphere for me. The atmosphere really sold it on Raven the Redwoods. Okay, now it's time for Shaolin Shuffle. This is the Kung Fu map. Easter egg is okay, but I remember on launch the Kung Fu actually being able to crash the game if you like spam the Kung Fu moves too much, which was just kind of like a funny moment in time that was. Do I like this map though? I don't really ever find myself playing it. If I'm hopping in IW Zombies, I am not reaching for this map. So unfortunately, does it deserve to be in bin? Kind of does. I'll put it like above Die Rise. I don't think it's as bad as Die Rise. Okay, and then Attack of the Radioactive Thing. The like alien like mid-round boss things, they're really good. I've forgotten the name of them. It goes to show how much I've played IW Zombies, doesn't it? This map is honestly okay. I think the layout is all right. The graphics on this aren't great. It doesn't look great at all. And that's after you turn the power on and you get colour back, because you start out when it being black and white, just like Ascension. I don't love how it looks. The Easter egg is okay until you get to that fucking... is it a Morse code step or is it like a Pythagoras step? I forget. But I've only done the Easter egg on this map. I've only done the Easter egg on most of these IW maps once. I've done the Easter egg on Zombies in Spaceland 3 times, and then the rest of these maps I've done them once. But from what I can remember, Attack of the Radioactive Thing was extremely painful to get through, and I just didn't enjoy it very much. But I don't think it's as awful as Shaolin. I don't even think it's like forgettable. I think that I'll stick it like with Moon, like just behind Moon. I'm happy with that spot, to be honest. And then Beast from Beyond. Okay, I don't like this map. If it wasn't for the Mephistopheles boss fight, it would go in Vanguard tier. Easily. By far and away. But the fact that it has the Mephistopheles boss fight means I have to bump it up to at least bin. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to put it above Farm. Because Farm doesn't even have an Easter egg. Whereas at least Beast from Beyond does. So it at least gives you something to do. Not that something's very good until you get to the boss fight. But there you go. Yeah, Beast from Beyond is a pile of shit. And if it wasn't for the boss fight at the end being so damn cool, it would be worse than Infection for me. But there it goes. Just behind Transit. Yeah. And there you go. That was IW tackled. Yeah, now we move on to World War II zombies. Now, much like Zombies in Spaceland, I think that the Final Reich is an extremely strong first map for this mode. I think that it is stronger than Derice. I really do, by the way. You can hate me all you want for that, but I do. In fact, I'd be willing to put it above Spaceland, which means it has to go above it. Yeah, I'll put it here. I don't think it's better than Horizon Drag. But I do think it's an excellent map all the same. The stuff of the notebook on this map is so good. I have played, out of all of the non-Treyarch maps on this list, besides Carrier, the Final Reich is my most played map of all of the non-Treyarch maps besides Carrier. So the Final Reich is really good. The horror aspect of this map is really good as well. I love that it's like a snowy map, but it's still like at night and creepy. And the jump scares that we get in this game are not worn off, and the novelty of them have worn off yet, so it's still quite fun from that front. And the Easter egg is honestly quite good, and I like that we have two versions of the Easter egg too, for the hardcore players and for the like more beginner friendly version of it, right? I just really enjoy the Final Reich. I think it's extremely strong. The characters are a bit so-so for me when it comes to all of the World War II zombie maps, but with that aside, I think the Final Reich is a great map. I really do. And sorely underrated as well. People don't think of World War II zombies very much, but I think that Final Reich is really damn good and such a strong map to start this game on. It's a shame that it goes downhill so fast. But anyway, let's talk about Groston House first. So, I think the Groston House is super bare bones and not much going for it. It has that little small Easter egg thing, and it has the box, and that's it. So by default, I can't put it higher than Nectar and Toten. So for that reason, I'm gonna like bump it to the bottom of D, because Groston House is fine. It's not great though. It's okay though for a bare bones map. This is by far and away the best that World War II Zombies has to offer, and we'll get to the Tortured Path when we get to it. But yeah, as a standalone experience, Groston House is fine. It's fun. If I'm after just a bare bones experience on a non-Treyarch map, this is probably the one I'd go for. And then we have Darkest Shore. So if you're a fan of the colour grey, then you probably put this thing in S tier. But as for me, bin. Yeah, I don't like this one very much. Actually, you know what? Vanguard. No. Yeah, no. Yeah, Vanguard. Yeah, it's utter poo. The setting would be cool if you could fucking see it, but that's a joke because the setting is boring. It's just an island, and there's just fog everywhere, and you can't see 2 feet in front of you, and there's not much innovativeness that really happens on this map that hadn't already been present on Final Reich, and everything that was so cool on Final Reich, they stripped out. The cool stuff of the notebook and the dual Easter egg versions, right? It all decided to go bye-bye. I don't know why. I don't know what they were thinking with Darkest Shore. It is poo. But thinking about it, is it as poo as Infection? No, I think it is, actually. Not as much, but I'll put it like I'd sooner play this. I'd sooner play Bus Depot than Darkest Shore. So yeah, I'm going to leave it in Vanguard. Okay, now we have Shadowed Throne, which is a better map than Darkest Shore, but that's not really saying much. I do find myself thinking very fondly of Shadowed Throne when it comes to thinking of like World War II zombies. I think that it at least does deserve to be with Attack of the Radioactive thing. As like a non-Treyarch experience, it does the job, you know? I think that I would put it above Town and Verruct and Shino and 5 and Nuketown because it has an Easter egg. And I think the setting is honestly quite cool. It gets back the atmosphere in a small way from what I wanted with Final Reich, sorry. And I think the Final Reich atmosphere is back in a small way on Shadowed Throne, so I have to give it credit there. But the Easter egg is just extremely painful to do. But again, the setting is okay. Yeah, I think that's kind of a fair spot, to be honest. I'd sooner play Moon BO3 than Shadowed Throne, so there you go. Okay, Tortured Path. So this has the SS Mount Olympus and the other two small survival maps in there, but it's like a connected experience. Like, you've got to play them in order with their own like Easter eggs in play to get like unlock the ending of Tortured Path. And I'll be honest, the launch for this thing was so shit. They like locked it behind, like, you have to complete the Easter egg in order to get it or whatever. I forget what happened, but the launch for this DLC was an honest to God dumpster fire. Now that that's been smoothed over and it's now playable, it isn't now going to be in. If it was still how it was when it launched, easy Vanguard tier for me. But now that it does just sit as like a playable feature for whoever, it does bump it up to like F tier potentially, because it is just very forgettable. Like I said, it's comprised of 3 bare-bones survival maps like Groston House. But unlike Groston House, these maps are just extremely forgettable, and I've only played each of these maps like once or twice each, once of which for the Easter egg, and the other time just to get a refresher on it because it'd been a while since I last played it. Yeah, Tortured Path is just not very good. Not as bad as when it launched. People still like to call it like bottom of the pile, pure dog shit. But like I say, now that those issues were fixed at launch, I can't fairly place it down with like Darkest Shore and Infection. So it's just gonna have to go in F tier with all the other forgettable like remakes and stuff, right? So there it goes. Tortured Path. Now it's time for Frozen Dawn, which I'm just gonna have to sit at the bottom of E because it's much like Shadowed Throne but a bit less. It's just a very serviceable non-Treyarch zombie map. It had not the atmosphere that I was looking for from like Final Reich and Shadowed Throne. The Easter egg was okay. The boss fight was fine. The setting was cool, but just wasn't what I was looking for as a final World War II zombie map. It's just really there. It's not even forgettable. It's just there. It really is the definition of mid, to be honest with you, or lower mid, I should say. But yeah, that was World War II covered. And now we move into BO4. Now, I am a BO4 defender, so watch out, because you're probably going to get irritated with my choices where these maps are going to go if you don't like Black Ops 4 Zombies. But let's get into it. Now, first controversial take. Voyage of Despair. It's going in C tier or a high D tier. I think I will, just for the sake of being a contrarian, I'll leave it at the bottom of C. I think Voyage of Despair, for some reason, still gets hate. I'm going to set the record straight here. Voyage of Despair is not an awful map. People hate this map because it was like the first offender of like the BO4 issues, right? People played this map first, so they were like, what's happened to Pack-a-Punch? What's happened to Juggernog? What's the... You know. So this map is basically the punching bag of Black Ops 4. When people have an issue with the Black Ops 4 zombies system, they let out their frustrations on this map specifically for some reason. And they obviously have issue with how Pack-a-Punch and Jug is and all these other things with like the HP and all that. But as just a map that sits in the game that it's in, Voyage of Despair is a good map. With, like I say, BO4 aside, having its growing pains and issues with, like I say, Pack-a-Punch and Jug and all these other things with crutch perks being gone, but not really. Just think about it. Voyage of Despair, the only issue it has outside of those things is just the map spacing. Like, it's to scale with the real Titanic. So they basically had the same issues that they did with 5, but on a larger scale. So in theory, you'd think I'd put it down with 5. No. The Easter egg on this map is brilliant. The boss fight on this map is brilliant as well. I also feel like the story behind this map is okay, if you forget about the fact that they could have integrated the sinking of the Titanic with the Easter egg, and like maybe the characters can stop the Titanic from hitting the iceberg. That would have been a cool way to do the story on this map. So I can see why people don't like that aspect of it, but that's why it's in C tier and not in A tier, right? So there you go. But on a whole, I quite like Voyage of Despair. I think that it is a decent map. It's way too overhated. Still to this day, for some reason, people still have a chip on their shoulder with this map. And it's just always baffled me why. Like, why is it this map that gets all the hate and not the other BO4 maps? It's because it's the first one on launch. It's like the one that was advertised the most, and when people got on to the game and they were like, what's happened to all the crutch perks? This is the map that, like I say, got the brunt of the backlash. But now we do move in to 9, which is a fucking brilliant map. I'm going to put it in S tier. I think that it is a very strong map. I think that it is not my favourite map of BO4. You know what? I'm going to be cheeky. I'm going to put it top of A. I'm going to put it top of A. No, I am. I am going to put it top of A. And this is going to cause some friction with people watching in a few minutes. But 9 is an excellent fucking map. I think that it is... There's nothing that I'd really change about it. The layout is really good. The challenge podium stuff is really good. The boss spam is a bit annoying on here, more so than Voyage of Despair, I would argue. But I think overall it is extremely strong. I love the setting of the map and how each corner relates to a different like god, and it has a different vibe to it, like a jungly side on one bit, desert-y like temple side on another, and then you have the Pack-a-Punch below it. Incredibly well designed layout. And yeah, I just think it's extremely strong. And when it comes to the Easter egg, also really strong. Really fun boss fight with the elephant. You can appease the audience and they can give you rewards, or they can give you poo, literally. It's just a really fun map. It's a really well designed one, and it is the favourite on Black Ops 4. It's not my personal favourite, but I can see why everyone loves it. But yeah, that was it. That's it for 9. Now let's move on to Blood of the Dead. Okay, in a world where Mob of the Dead didn't exist first, and Blood of the Dead was its own map, and it didn't have the original Mob of the Dead to be compared to, then Blood of the Dead would sit here. I think that Blood of the Dead is a fine map on its own in isolation, but as like a remake, reimagining, it doesn't do justice to the original. So I'm going to have to like stick it in... I'll stick it like middle of E. I'll stick it like here, because Blood of the Dead basically takes a lot of the best features of Mob of the Dead and strips them out, like the Golden Gate Bridge, for example. Or the Afterlife, actually, thinking about it. And it adds new areas to the map, which are fun, but nowhere near as interesting as the main portion of Mob of the Dead, which Blood of the Dead has already. It's, like I say, Blood of the Dead plays fine. The Easter egg is very difficult, and there's a lot of stuff to do on it, and there's so many like other features to Blood of the Dead which make you want to come back to it. So as a standalone map in isolation, it's fine. It's a decent map. It's very good, well put together. But taking into account that we've seen Alcatraz be put to game better in Mob of the Dead already, shows on full display all of the misgivings of Blood of the Dead. So is Blood of the Dead a bad map and a poor experience to play? No, it's not. By far and away, it's not. But as a reimagining remake of Mob of the Dead, it takes all of the good things of Mob of the Dead and strips them out. So for that reason, E tier it is. Now we have Classified. As a remake to 5, I think it succeeds. I think that it remasters and reimagines 5 and adds very much needed things to 5. I think that I'm going to put it here. I'll put it just above Groston House. I think that Classified adds much needed space to the 5 map, making it much more, you know, open and more easy to play. I also like that we added the Area 51 area from Moon to where Pack-a-Punch could end up being with Classified. My thing with Classified is its Easter egg is basically just get to round 150. That's not really an Easter egg quest in the traditional sense, so I don't really appreciate that. But besides that, Classified's pretty good. It improved the Winter's Howl. It unfortunately got rid of the Pentagon Thief and the Celebrity Cast, but taking those things aside, it's fine. It's a pretty good reimagining of 5, and yeah, so that's where it goes. Now we have Dead of the Night. Excuse me. Right, this is just going to go up here and 8 it above 9. This is going to piss some people off. I fucking love Dead of the Night. I think that it is one of the strongest maps from Treyarch's catalogue. People have an issue with this one for some reason. They're like, it's too difficult. I will be honest. It is one of the most unique maps that Treyarch has made, or that Zombies as a whole has on offer. I love the fact that we have unique bosses on this map. Yeah, the boss spam is a bit much, but it's so much better. I love the fact that on here we have werewolves and we have vampires, as opposed to the fucking Blight Fathers and the Elementals, right? Those things are annoying with how much they're spammed on maps like 9 and Voyage of Despair. It was such a change of pace to have Dead of the Night be set in a haunted mansion and having like haunted horror movie monsters chasing you rather than just more catalyst zombies, right? It's just, yeah, I very much love Dead of the Night. I think that it's not a perfect map, which is why it's not in S tier, but I really, really love it. I love it more than 9. Only by a needle hair, but I have to set a precedent and give Dead of the Night its time in the sun. The other Celebrity Cast can get a bit irritating unless you're playing as Charles Dance. But you can just turn off the voice lines from the characters. But yeah, that's the only issue I have with it, is the playable characters are annoying. Everything else about it is just really good. So yeah, it's a great fucking map, and I won't hear anyone saying that it isn't. I'll be honest. I think it's brilliant. The Wonder Weapon is fucking brilliant as well. I forgot about the Alistair's Foley. Oh, there's just so much to love, and all the different things you can collect to help your experience. It's a fucking excellent map. I won't hear anything else about it. Cool. Ancient Evil is going in S tier and is firmly my 3rd favourite zombie map of all time. Ancient Evil, once again, I think even more so than 9, takes the engine of Black Ops 4 Zombies and uses it to its advantage with the different like perk podiums and the different corners of the map. I like that we have like a light side and dark side to it, and as well as that, the gauntlets are brilliant as well. I like that we have unique bosses on here that aren't just the same ones, like we have the skeletons in there for a change. The Giganese is pretty cool. I don't like the boss spam on Ancient Evil, really. I think that we have way too many enemy types to deal with on here. But I'm willing to look past that because of just how good the rest of the map is. Like I say, the gauntlets, like I say, the Pack-a-Punch process. I also love all the stuff to do with obtaining the, the Pegasus Strike, and just everything about it, man. There's just so much fun stuff in this map. And the story's pretty good, and single-handedly made us care for the Chaos story, which we otherwise didn't give a rat's ass about before this map. It's a brilliant one. But what is not a brilliant map is Alpha Omega. Would I play it sooner than Darkest Shore? Of course I would. I'd play it sooner than Bus Depot. But I still feel like Alpha Omega is Vanguard tier, and here's why. Alpha Omega is just a big... You know what Alpha Omega is, actually? Scratch that. It's basically what Revelations would have been if Revelations was done wrong. Because Revelations is returning features galore, and it's like unique like map areas and unique like weapons, bringing them back from previous maps. There's no new features to the map. They're all just returning and making the character OP. Alpha Omega is all of those things done wrong. Alpha Omega is just bringing Nuketown back because you can't be bothered to make a new map for this DLC. And then what do? Oh, you can't be bothered to make a new wonder weapon? Let's just throw the Raygun Mark II in there again. Oh, and what about boss zombies? Let's just throw the Avogadro in there again. You know? And I could keep going. Annoying fucking Nova crawlers that teleport. Don't get me started on them. Pack-a-punch system is like... Oh, yeah, no. It's so awful. I don't like Alpha Omega. It's one of my least favourite maps ever. It's really bad. Really bad. In fact, no. I've talked myself into it. It's bad. It's going below Bus Depot. And now we have Tag der Toten, which, for the exact same reasons that I said about Classified, goes next to Classified, but slightly above it, because Tag der Toten has a full Easter egg, whereas Classified doesn't. I think Tag der Toten, it basically remixes everything about Call of the Dead. It isn't really a Call of the Dead remake to me. I mean, it goes back to the Lighthouse, sure, but it's got none of the things that made Call of the Dead special. But it does replace those things with quite interesting stuff. You have the zip lines, which are a new feature. You can go up to the facility on top of the hill, which is a fun area as well. And yeah, and then what we do get is quite good. I will say it's not perfect, but big points to this map is introducing Gold Pack-a-Punch, which is basically an answer to everyone's issue with how Pack-a-Punch was in Black Ops 4. So, for all those reasons, Tag der Toten is a fine experience. And I definitely have a soft spot for it, if you could not tell. I definitely like that map. I don't love it, but I like it. I think that it's fine. I think that it's pretty good. The snowballs are a fun feature. It has, unfortunately, tons of wonder weapons, but not many of them being very good, like the scoped Wonder Waff. Who asked for that, right? So, yeah, it's just kind of there for me. It's not a good remake, but it is a fine map in isolation. Okay, now it's time to talk about Cold War, because I didn't in the last tier list, so now we're really in uncharted territory. Die Maschine, not in the slightest a Nacht der Toten remake, and I don't think it was trying to be either. I think it just had this familiar facet of the map to hook people from the off. And goddamn did it work. It had me hooked. Die Maschine is honestly okay. I think that it isn't the greatest thing of all time, but I like how Nacht looks on this map. I like the graffiti-ridden walls and all that. I'd be willing to put it like above Carrier. I think that it's a fine launch map, to be honest. The Megaton is good, and the Wonder Weapon as well is fucking great. The first map that has exfil, besides Outbreak from Advanced Warfare. Yeah, I think that Die Maschine is honestly quite good. I think it's a quite good launch map. And yeah, the Easter egg is a bit too easy, which is the case for most of these Cold War maps. But with that aside, it's honestly okay. I think my main issue with Die Maschine is my issue with most of modern zombies from this point on, is you get the loadouts and you get the rarities and all this other shit that happens with these modern zombie games, which I just don't really appreciate. I just don't. That's not my cup of tea. I much preferred it the old way before Cold War. But again, you can't fault this map for starting that trend. It was a game feature which is now stuck for some reason. Okay, Firebase Z is honestly. I don't know where to put this thing actually. You know what? No, I think it's quite forgettable, so I'm just gonna have to put it in F. It's just very forgettable. F for forgettable. I think that Firebase, or F for Firebase C, I should say. The Ray K is the only thing that really is of note on this map. The Easter egg isn't great. It isn't bad. It's just, again, way too easy. And the layout is just very so-so. It just doesn't really do it for me. I'll be honest, I never, ever in my life feel like I ever need to play this map again. You know? But now we move into Outbreak, which is not forgettable because it's Outbreak and everyone remembers Outbreak. But for me, all the wrong reasons. I would be willing to put it in bin. I'll be honest with you. I'll be willing to put it in bin. The open world aspect of this map, sure, it's a great idea in theory. But if you're gonna make an open world zombies without round based, you gotta fill that fucking space, man. Like, as playable areas, you have a few towns and that's cool and all that, but you have so many perk machines that you could have placed on all over these spots, and you don't. All you have is one measly fucking Wonder Fizz, and that's it. It's just screams of being quite lazy, if that makes any sense. And as well as that, like, instead of Outbreak, you could have, like, put the efforts of making Outbreak into making, like, at least 2 extra pretty decent round-based maps in its place. So for that reason, Outbreak does piss me off. And again, all this playable space and nothing to do in it. That's my issue, really. And sure, you can be like, oh, but Zach, you have the boss fights in there and the different areas you can travel to. Yeah, I know. But besides those things, can you really tell me a single thing that's good about the Outbreak mode, besides being a good way to camo grind? I don't think you can. I'll be honest. I think it really doesn't do anything for me. It never has. I really tried with it as well. I've played Outbreak the most out of all of the Cold War maps, and I still don't like it very much. So now we move in to Mauer de Toten. Now, my opinion on this map has changed a bit, but in a good way. I used to be very so-so on this map and thought that it was quite, like, overrated because this was the favourite when it was out. Nowadays, I'd be willing to agree. I think that it is the best on Cold War. I'd be willing to put it, like, top of B. I think the Mauer de Toten is quite strong. The Wonder Weapon is really good. Actually, I think the bosses on this map are pretty good. I will say as well, the boss spam on Cold War maps are quite bad, except for Mauer de Toten. I think that the boss spam on Mauer de Toten is perfectly balanced, much more so than, like, with Firebase C with the mimics and all that, right? I think the Mauer de Toten is a well-put map, and quite a fucking good Easter egg. Now, when I originally condemned this map, I hadn't played the Easter egg yet. Now that I have, I can safely say I enjoyed my time. I think it's quite good. Klaus is a fun feature, and the actual map layout itself is quite unique. I like that we have the stuff down in the train, like, underground, and I enjoy that it's set at night. Yeah, the rain can be a bit grating at times, but on a whole, it's a well-made map, I'll be honest with you, and it is definitely the strongest of Cold War, which is definitely not what I would have said 4 years ago. I would have said that Forsaken's the strongest. I still like Forsaken, though, which is why I'm going to put it at the bottom of B. Because the Crystal Axe is great. Yeah, of course it is. All of the returning perks are really good. And actually, that's honestly it. I just kind of enjoyed the layout is quite fun. My issue with it is that all of these different maps from multiplayer and campaign have all just been fucking crunched together with teleporters and zip lines to connect them all. And the layout of the map does just feel a bit lazy. Yeah, sure, the zip lines are fun, which is why I enjoy the layout a little bit at times. But I have to be in the mood for it. Also, I like the new take on the Margwa. Like, we have this, like, Margwa beast thing. I forget what you call it. The Abomination, that's what it's called, sorry. The Abomination is a fun enemy type. It's a shame that it gets brought back to death like the Manglers. But for this map alone, it's fine. It's quite good. I think I was quite hasty putting it in B. I will put it top of C above D Machine. But I think Forsaken is fine. I think the Easter egg for it is just so fucking easy and boring. Yeah. I don't know. Forsaken used to be my favourite of Cold War, like I say. Nowadays, it's just doesn't really do much anymore. But again, it's fine. It's a good map. There's not much I can really fault it for necessarily. And in fact, thinking about it, I will probably put it below Voyage of Despair. Because I like that map more than Forsaken. Oh boy, kill me now. Now we're in Vanguard. Jesus Christ. We're nearly there, Zach. We're nearly there. Okay. Coffee's getting cold. I've been talking that long. Duran Fang is an honest-to-God pile of shit. And as such, it belongs in the Vanguard tier. But I will say, higher than Infection. I would sooner play Duran Fang than Infection. And that's the honest-to-God truth, by the way. I really would. Duran Fang, I've talked to death on various zombie videos on this channel about why Duran Fang and Vanguard as a whole is a piss-poor excuse for a game mode. But it takes everything that was good about the zombies mode and strips it out, literally. Round-based, goodbye. Actual, like, survivability, goodbye. Gets replaced with the objective-based stuff. The Easter egg stuff, goodbye. And they even decide to reskin the perks, thinking that we wouldn't fucking notice. It is so lazy, and it is just such a horrid experience to play. I would say, thinking about it, this is going to be crazy to say, I would sooner play Duran Fang than Alpha Omega. And I really would, by the way. This is my genuine, honest to God truth. But still in Vanguard's tier. It is a hot, steaming pile of dung. And all of the issues that I have with Vanguard are issues I have with Terra Maledicta. And I will say, Terra Maledicta is worse. I'd say it is definitely worse than Duran Fang. I think that the map layout is worse. No. Sorry, I've got these maps mixed up. Sorry, Duran Fang bottom. Sorry. Terra Maledicta, the map layout is a bit better. The setting is a bit cool. No, I did have it right. Sorry, no. So Duran Fang's the one at night. Sorry. Terra Maledicta's the one on that temple thing. The Terra Maledicta's a pile of shit. Duran Fang, I'm back to my original talking points. Duran Fang is at least set at night, so it looks cool and creepy. That's the only thing I can say good about the map. Yeah, and the original launch of this game was honest to God doo-doo. Unlike Cold War, Duran Fang and Terra Maledicta are literally unplayable for me. I would sooner pour vinegar on my eyes than play those maps, I'll be honest with you. But that goes for everything in Vanguard's tier, frankly. But now I move into the Shi no Numa remake in Vanguard, which is hilarious to me that this is the only map in Vanguard that is worth a damn. But I am going to put it... Where did I put the giant? I'll put it here. I'll put it like behind the Duris BO1. No, I'll put it below Grossenhat. No, I'll put it here. I'll put it here. Yeah, behind Tag. Yeah, the Shi no Numa remake in Vanguard is honestly, it's fine. It's honestly okay. People would put it lower. Other people would put it higher, depending on if you're a Vanguard defender, if there are any of you still out there, that is, or if you just despise it. I think it's like dead middle. I think it's the definition of mid. As a remake, it does do justice to Shi no Numa as a map. It adds much needed features to improve it. It adds that whole new area with the dig site, and the Wonderwaff is back, thank God. But much like with like Classified and these other maps like Tag in this D tier here, it doesn't add anything substantial to the map to improve it much from the original, but it does enough to make me want to play it more than the original. But the fact that it's in Vanguard actually knocks this down to here, just below the original, because I would still sooner play the original than Vanguard for the sheer fact that I don't want to reinstall Vanguard just to play this map, right? So to be fair, I think E is a good spot for it right there. But if I could just hop into it and I wouldn't have to worry about the headaches of trying to access Vanguard, here's where it would probably go. But with all real world aspects in play, here's where it belongs. I think that's a fair spot for it, to be honest with you. Cool. And now we have the Archeron, or the Archeron. I don't know how you say that. I've never heard someone say it out loud because I hear no one talk about this map. This is the final map on Vanguard, and it is a round-based map, just like Shi no Numa, as opposed to Duran Fang and Terra Maledicta, which you might think to yourself, does that make the Archeron good? No, it does not. Is it better than Duran Fang and Terra Maledicta? Yes, because it's round-based, and that alone. Does that make it a good map? Abso-fucking-lutely not. It is literally, to give context to like the millions of people who haven't played it versus the 5 people that have, this map is literally the exact same map layout as Terra Maledicta, except like with a green vignette over the colouring. It is the exact same fucking map. It is the laziest excuse for a DLC map I've ever had the misfortune of playing. I'm very glad that I didn't have to buy this game and these DLCs, and I ended up playing it as the Xbox Game Pass, because holy fuck, I would have been disappointed. I would have demanded my money back if I realised that the final map on Vanguard was just the Terra Maledicta map but round based, because that's literally all it is. And because I didn't like the map layout on Terra Maledicta very much, the Archeron has to go top of Vanguard, because besides the Shinonuma remake on Vanguard, the Archeron is the best map on Vanguard, which again isn't saying much because that game is fucking shit. Anyway, now that we're done with Vanguard, thank the heavens above, we now move in. Oh yeah, shit, no, we're not done yet. We haven't got into Black Ops 6. I thought I was jumping the gun there for a second. Operation Deadbolt, which, if I'm remembering rightly, is the name of the mission for the Modern Warfare 3 zombie mode that came out a couple years back, which is basically Outbreak from Cold War meets the objective-based zombies of Duran Fang. So I bet you can imagine what my feelings on this are. It belongs in Vanguard tier. I will say it somewhat improves on the open world aspect of Outbreak from what I could tell. Not that I played very much of it. So I am going to put it like... I'll put it behind the Archeron, because the Archeron is at least round based. I'll put Operation Deadbolt here, because that seems like a fair spot. I'll be honest, it seems like a fine spot to me. Cool, there we go. We are now finally into Black Ops 6. So here are my feelings on Black Ops 6 zombies. First of all, Liberty Falls is the first map definitively of Black Ops 6. I don't know why it's that order, but let's talk about Black Ops 6, because I started playing these maps. I played the 2 launch maps on video for my first experience, and then I tried to do the same for Citadel Day More, but my computer completely crashed and it wouldn't have been a first time experience of it. But we'll talk about the maps as we go through, because Black Ops 6 is honestly not a bad zombies mode. I'll be completely honest with you, there are worse zombies modes out there, as we've literally just discussed. So what we'll do is we'll go with Liberty Falls first, or Liberty Balls as some people call it. So my main issue of Liberty Falls is just the skybox. It's just the aesthetic, like the vibe, or the aura as people were calling it. You know, I think that Liberty Falls at least deserves a D tier. I think that it deserves higher than Classified and Grossen House because it has an Easter egg. The boss spam was a bit much. But the fact that it's basically Liberty Falls, honestly, Liberty Falls is everything that Kino de Toten should have been for Black Ops 1. It's a bare bones survival map, but with the option of an Easter egg. It's very noob friendly to zombies. Liberty Falls is honestly fine. It's honestly an okay map, and people hate on it now. And like I said, I don't love it. I don't really even like it very much, but honestly, it's okay. It's honestly alright. It does the job. I would be willing to put it like behind... No, I'll put it behind like the Giant, I think is a good spot for it. Because I think the thing is with Liberty Falls, the issues with it are the same issues we have with Terminus, which we'll get to. Is like the boss spam is like the main thing with it, and then how it looks, like the color palette is very boring and very grey. But with that aside, the map plays well. The layout is honestly really good, and the zip lines really help this map, honestly. Overall, it's decent. It's honestly a decent map, and I don't get why people don't like it anymore. But when it came out, this was like one of the most played maps ever, I think. Which should say it all. It's quite an addictive map. It's definitely a good camo grindy map, if that makes sense. Which often is kind of a sticking point for me with maps. But on this case, I'm willing to give it a pass. Because at least the map layout was good, and it had more features beyond just survive. So, yeah. Now we have Terminus, which I'll be completely honest, I really like. I really, really liked Terminus. I think that it deserves A tier at least. I think that Terminus, again, it had the boss spam. You know, what's crazy is for how fucking huge the map Terminus is, it honestly uses a lot of that playable space really well. The only exception to that is like that shipwreck on the sea, right? Which I think you only visit for that one Easter egg step. But I like that you can use the boat to go out on the open water, and the map basically, it doesn't let you sit out there too long because you have the tentacle that follows you, and you know, it's just a well balanced map all in all. And the boss fight is fucking brilliant. The layout, like I said, is really good considering how big it is, and and the atmosphere. Going back to the atmosphere, the main sticking point for Liberty Falls for me was the atmosphere. Terminus is a bigger Liberty Falls with a better Easter egg and a better atmosphere. And I don't mind the boss in this. I've forgotten his name. The Amalgam, is that what he's called? I think it is. And then I don't mind the Wonder Weapon either. I think overall it's really good, and I enjoy and as for like comparing Black Ops 6 to Cold War, the actual like Pack-a-Punch quest is at least stimulating, unlike Cold War, any of the Cold War maps, frankly. So I honestly, to be honest, I didn't think I'd be doing this, but I think I'm going to put it like above Doris. I think that it's a better map than Doris. I think that it even could be better than 9 for me. I don't think it deserves S tier. I don't even think that it's better than Dead of the Night for me. I think that Terminus is an excellent map and is exactly what Black Ops 6 needed. Cool. So now moving to Citadel Day More. Now this is uncharted territory because I never made videos on these other Black Ops 6 maps because I just couldn't really be bothered, to be honest. I just wanted to play them and see how I felt and then move on with my life because I have better priorities in my life than Call of Duty Zombies. And also my computer would have crashed if I used OBS and Xbox Game Steam Pass at the same time. Anyway, we won't get into that here. So, Citadel Day More is another really good map. I'll be honest, not as good as Terminus for me. I know that's kind of a controversial take because everyone likes Citadel Day More. I still think it deserves A tier. I love the castle theme. I love the more like greeny, browny colour palette of this map. The Easter egg is quite good. The swords, honestly, aren't what I was hoping they would be. I was hoping they'd be more of like a gauntlet type thing from Ancient Evil, and they ended up being nowhere near as powerful as they needed to be for a map like this. But besides that, with how big and how ambitious the map layout is of Citadel Day More, it honestly does a good job. I think that Citadel Day More has an element of verticality that Die Rise fails at, but Citadel succeeds at in some ways. And like I say, the atmosphere is good, the layout is good, the Easter egg is okay. I don't like it as much as Terminus, but I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine there. I will, you know what I will say? I think I do prefer the Easter egg and boss fight of Terminus more than Citadel. I think the Citadel does succeed at the entire boss fight Easter egg experience very well. So there you have it. That was Citadel. Now, let's move into the Tomb, which is basically just Liberty Falls, but better looking. So I kind of just have to put it with Liberty Falls. The Tomb, people hate. I don't really know why. Yeah, you can argue, oh, the Tomb shoehorned in the ice staff for no reason, even though the map had no need for it. Well, so did Liberty Falls with the jet gun. So to that argument, I have to say you can't judge one without the other, right? So I think that the Tomb is just very much a similar experience to Liberty Falls, but just has a much better atmosphere to it. I like that it canonizes chaos. I'll be honest with you, I might be the only one that feels that way, but I think that the chaos story needed to have its redemption, and I like that it's now part of the core ether like canon, right? Because it has the Sentinel artifact, etc. The boss fight on the Tomb is poo, by the way. Just got to get that out of the way. I don't like it very much. The Easter egg as a whole is fine. The layout of the map is honestly quite good. The map spacing though, like the entire like areas you can train, is way too open world like Ascension, so it's just a bit too easy in some spots. But I'll be honest, I don't mind the Tomb. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. So I'm just going to stick it like above the... No, I'll leave it with Liberty Falls actually. I don't need to move it. I'm going to put it with Liberty Falls, but slightly ahead because it just looks a bit better. Besides that, it's the same map. So there you have it. Now we have Shattered Veil, which I am just going to have to put in C tier above Forsaken. So, for, Shattered Veil is okay. I like the Haunted Mansion stuff, which is probably why Dead of the Night is all the way up in A. But Shattered Veil has a really fun boss fight, quite a good fetch quest. Yeah, it's quite good. I like the collectathon aspect of Shattered Veil. I think what I liked about it is it reminded me of all the things I liked about Origins, Zetsubou no Shima, Dead of the Night, all maps that involve a lot of item hunting and collecting in order to build stuff. So, to those ends, I think that I enjoyed what Shattered Veil felt like it was trying to be. So, yeah. There you have it. And then as for Reckoning, I don't know where this one goes. Fuck, I don't know. I didn't like Reckoning very much. It was not a very good ending map for BO6, I'll be honest. I would sooner play Reckoning than Firebase C, though. I'll put it here. Oh shit, we've also got the Dead Ops Arcade to do. Okay, we'll quickly whiz through these, I guess. I think that BO3 is the best Dead Ops Arcade. I'll be willing to put it in like B because it's really fun. I'll put the BO1 version in C, and I'll put the Cold War one just behind the BO1 version. Oh boy, we've fucking done it. We have ranked all of... Oh wait, no, we haven't actually. We've still got to rank the Nightmare mode from BO3, which isn't in this tier list. I thought it was when I did the intro for this. I'll put the Nightmare mode like at the bottom of like D tier, like here, just behind Groston House. Because it's basically just the BO3, like, it's just basically a campaign with zombies in, right? So I can appreciate it for what it is. It's a unique zombie experience, and in a good way, unlike Operation Deadbolt or Outbreak. So there you go. Oh, thank you for joining me for this very, very long journey of ranking every single zombie map of all time. This is literally every single one in this tier list right now. Would I change anything in these estimations? I think that Vanguard tier is fine. I think this is fine, actually. I'm happy with this. I'd probably put Tortured Path actually above. No, I'd leave it there, actually. I'd leave it there. I think that this is fine. I think that most of these are actually okay. Thinking about it, I would be willing to squeak Shattered Veil above Revelations. Now that I'm thinking about it. B tier looks good. A tier I think looks good. Cool. That's it. Thanks for watching this very long video of me ranking all of COD zombie maps. Long awaited video. Now finished. Thank the heavens I can now rest my voice and rest my soul. As for BO7, I don't know if I'll be playing that game. I probably won't be making videos on the maps as they come out, just because I can't really be bothered these days. But I might make a updated tier list video of the Black Ops 7 maps if they're any good. I'll be honest, Black Ops 7 is looking promising right now. It looks like there's gonna be a cursed mode which like returns the zombie mode back to how it felt before, like weapon rarities and ammo caches and all that shit from Cold War onwards. So we'll see whether the cursed mode lands flat on its face or whether it's something that the OG fans have been looking for this whole time. But until then, that'll probably do it for me and ranking all of these zombie maps. Yeah, but I'd say expect more zombie videos in the future. But yeah, that'll do it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.